At the conclusion of the parable, tells his audience, 2 men went up to the temple, but only one returned home justified. And it was not the Pharisee. It was the tax collector who sought God's mercy. So why is this an appropriate gospel for the installation of your pastor? Because the priest brings us Jesus, including the mercy that flows from the heart of Jesus. The priest sits and he waits patiently in the confessional to reconcile sinners to the Father, the way Jesus did at Calvary. And so for that purpose, I have appointed Father Tom Gardner as your new pastor. What will his ministry be like? He will have to be like St. Paul and pour himself out like a libation. He must run the race. He must finish the race. He must compete well if he wishes to receive the crown of righteousness. He's fighting always the good fight of faith. He must lead you yourselves to fight the good fight of faith, to compete well and to finish the race, and so attain to the joys of heaven. He must not only hear confessions and show God's mercy, but he must preach the word of God, as we heard St. Paul tell Timothy last week, in season and out of season, reproving, yet and also at the same time encouraging. He must feed God's people with not ordinary bread, but the bread of life, carrying with it the promise of immortality. The fathers of the church used to call the Eucharist the medicine of immortality. When someone is sick or dying at any hour of the night, you call and the priest goes to again remind even the dying that God is close, that his mercy and salvation are at hand. When you have the poor in your community, whether the new migrants who are coming or those at St. Vincent Haven, those who are in prison and jail, who goes to visit? But the priest. But the priest doesn't do everything himself. His task is also to animate the lay vocation so that all of you can be engaged in the mission of bringing the good news of salvation to the ends of the earth. I do not ask Father Gardner to keep this church open or to build new buildings. He may very well do that. I ask him to preach the word of God in season and out, to lay down his very life, not for his salvation, but for your salvation, to keep up the unity that is within this community, to build on the good work of Father Sizemore, but also to continue to grow and to make new disciples and stronger disciples here in the midst of all of you in Newark, or Newark, as you say here. Now, what do I ask of you? That you receive him, that you support him, that you pray for him, that you fast for him,